Hey, welcome back to me, to you. I'm excited to be back here to you. I know you were out there saying, "Where's Sir Rick at?" And I just want to welcome myself back to BCB.
Welcome back, Sir Rick.
Thank
You know
you.
what? It's good to see you back. You know what? We missed you. I didn't know what we were going to do without you.
You know what? I feel the passion, and I think I believe you, Drive Safe Dave. You sound passionate about that. You sound legit on that. Hey, spent the weekend over at the TX or the Truckload Carriers Association. Amazing event at the TCA. Drive Safe Dave. You know what's been missing? Let me just tell you, we've had COVID, right? And COVID just has took over and everything kind of canceled. This, for many people, was the first event that they've attended. We attended the McLeod event, great event as well. And here we go now attending the TCA and going out, and I talked probably about 15 times to 15 different people about one thing. What you're seeing right now at all of these things is attention to safety.
Nice.
Attention to safety, and everything that we're seeing is tied into safety as well, right? I mean, even with your conversation with the TXTA yesterday, everything in our industry right now is focused on safety in some form or manner. But when we follow the BCBs, right? When we follow, that being safe, the communication aspect, and focusing on being on time all the way. Later on, worry about be safe right now. Drive safe, Dave. The technology's out there to help us with that.
Yeah, we have a chance to take it and grab it and seize it, and it's always improving, right? And even
Every time.
you go out there and you look at where will they be next year? Where will they be the year after?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The cameras, amazing as well. Again, everything's designed for the safety of not only the driver, but that trucking company as well, right? Hey, Drive Safe, we're talking about, when we practice the BCBs, right? It's saying, safety first, being on time all the way over here. Let me tell you who has that down right now, and it's impressive, and that's that U.S. Postal Service. The U.S. Postal Service. Now, I'm going to go with this right here. Just go with me for a second. Drive Safe Dave, I was checking this out. Here we go. 83.6% service, right, in the first quarter. 83.6% service on their first class mail. And here's where they go, Drive Safe Dave, because Friday, what happens Friday?
They changed their requirements on delivery of their first class, not only postage, but their first class packages.
First class. So here it is. They're changing that up. And here's the quote right here. On Friday, we're going to implement new service standards. Implement new service standards. And let me just say this right here, Drive Safe Dave. If you're my customer, I'm going to you and I'm going to tell you, hey, customer, we're going to implement new service standards for you.
Right.
You're pumped up, right?
I'm right. We're talking about improvement. We're talking about setting a new bar, right? Setting a new bar.
Yeah, but not here, sir. We're going to go down. We're going to, because we can't hit that service, we're going to lower our standards a little bit to get our service numbers up. Because if I can delay 30% of the shipments a little longer, heck, my service numbers can't help but go up.
I think they went, to 5 days, from 3 days to 5 days on an envelope. So where you might get it in 2 or 3 days, now they're talking minimum maybe 5. Maybe
All right,
5
so
days.
Drive, I'm gonna ask you for some help. Producer, what do you got, buddy?
Well, I was going to kind of correct what was being said there by Drive Safe Dave. So single piece first class mail, so like smaller, lightweight envelopes, traveling in the same region will still have a 2-day delivery time. First class packages, however, those are going to be heavily impacted. So we're going to see a lot more changes coming on. Small packages, Christmas time stuff, right? You're going to start seeing orders and orders. That's the stuff that's going to get slowed. But if you got to send a credit card to grandma, that probably will get there a little bit quicker.
Yes, and with that, Drive Safe, Dave, what do you got? I saw you challenging the producer. I had to bring you back in because I thought you were going on attack mode for a second.
I was going on attack mode. I do know that not only did they say they were going to do that, they were going to implement a new service, they're raising the rate, like 25 cents for that small package, like to get it to like $5 or something like that, from what I was understanding. And they're just basically saying that's in order to make a profit.
Now, hold on a second, because I'm gonna. What do you mean by that? Because here's the thing, and this is a fact here: a $3 billion loss in the last quarter that they announced. $3 billion, $2.2 billion last year, right?
Right.
We lost another $0.8 billion. $3 billion loss, Drive Safe Dave. I don't think this is going to make them money.
Okay.
Ford makes the largest investment in the Ford history into battery parks, pretty much, in Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yeah, I know they're going to open up this new facility. It's a huge
They're not just a facility. It's like a
city.
Yeah, it's like a city.
Yeah, they're
real.
going to be a zero waste. They're talking about investing not only in this new community that they're going to create on this electronic vehicle, but what they're going to do is they're going to make it. They're basically making it a green city, right? Isn't that the whole intent behind this? Is that it's a whole different
Pretty
ideology?
impressive. I mean, yeah, the power that they use is not that significant for the size of what they're building, right?
Right, and the waste is there's supposed to be no waste. They're supposed to be, and they're going to have their own. I mean, if you read deep into it, it's changing the way in which we think about doing business and creating new manufacturing ideologies.
Producer, does that make you go out and buy a Ford? Let me just tell you something. I know we got some Buckeye fans out there. Y'all got some issues going on. High school football, the refs make up, a controversial call. We don't like, one of the teams doesn't like, the home team says, you know what, that wasn't the right call. After the game, I like this part. The refs are going over their performance, right? It's performance review, going over that exact game, and they're getting that when all of a sudden this ruckus is going on out in the hallway. It's a noise going on, and it's the vending machine being placed in front of that door, Drive Safe Dave, so they can't get out.
Trapping basically a little bit of retaliation, putting these pinstripers in prison and locking them up so they can't come out and make a bad call.
Oh man, so charges have been pressed, and you know what? They were probably 4 Twinkies away from not being able to push the door open. It took all 3 of them to get that door pried open, in which they had to wedge themselves out to get out of there. Charges being pressed. They want to know who the varmint is that puts the thing in front of them.
So let me tell you,
it was probably a dad somewhere or a mom.
So you read deep into the story and you go back, and not only was this must have been a really bad call, because the assistant coach has been suspended for berating the officials and screaming at them, and then apologies have been issued, and they're still suing the school district for being trapped in there.
Yeah, you know what? You may have made a bad call when the penalties come out, when you get locked in. And this is after everybody's probably had a chance to review it, right? I mean, at that point, you know that you made a bad call. Oh, no, we're stuck in here for another. There's a good chance we're going to spend the night in the place today. Yeah, a big subject throughout the event I was at was the image of the truck, right? An image of what's going on in our industry, to try to make sure that we are doing our part as an industry to put that positive light out there, because all it takes is that bad accident, that one accident. And it's just one, it's sad because it's, we do so many things, right? Drive so many miles that when and it's many times it's not even the fault of a truck driver, yet that image is out there. And that's what we've got to continue to fix. Listen, if you're part of this, if you're watching this right now, it's important that you just really do take that into consideration. How you drive out there on that highway is a direct representation of our industry. Yes, you. When you're angry, when you're driving well, right? When you're letting the people pass, when you're helping folks, that's also a representation of our industry.
Absolutely. You look at it and you talk about it, and it's really fascinating, the mentality of it, because you can see four-wheelers make the same mistake hundreds of times, and nobody judges an industry or a group of people. When a truck driver does it once bad, then everybody judges the whole group as bad. And it's really difficult.
Yeah, and what I liked about him was they really focus on educating the politicians, not telling them they're doing a bad job or anything, or pointing a finger at them, but just say, hey, do you know this? And he even said it. I think Lonnie Payne, or one of the drivers, asked, what can they do to help? And he said, just be safe and be safer out there, because they're using these statistics to show the Congress that, hey, not only are the statistics misleading, they're misused by these insurance companies. I think he gave the example of, he's got a dually, and if he's pulling his camper shell in an accident, he gets treated as a CDL. It goes in them numbers, and that's what they're using. And just some numbers, and they really said some light, and a lot of these politicians just didn't even know.
Yeah, when you think about Texas, there's no senators, there's nobody that comes from a trucking background in our Senate today.
No, they're lawyers.
Yes, they're lawyers is what they are, and that is, we've got to educate them, and that's part of what the TXTA does. That's part of what these trucking organizations do. And part of what we try to do on here at BCB Live is make sure we're educating you on what's going on in your industry, right? It's your industry. And you've got to make sure that you're behind that when you're given that opportunity, that you're talking to the A-tree, right? Putting your vote in there, your voice in there, because they're taking those to a higher level.
Right.
Everything you're doing out there, it really does matter, from how you act on the road to your participation, in the industries as well. Being part of a BCB Live, that's a positive thing, because we take that and push it up higher, right? We take our membership and push it up higher, and our voice gets heard, and the industry all of a sudden realizes that, what? These folks are some honest to God, some of the best people in the country. Truck drivers still, to their heart, are phenomenal people. Probably much better than most other industries out there. Whether you're a trucking company, a truck driver, I'm going to tell you something. You're America. You move America. You were our heroes during COVID. You're our heroes today.
And so just to give some more background on some numbers on this study that I found, we went with what they classify the accidents for critical events. And then just some numbers on the fatal crashes yesterday. Well, now they've got critical reasons, okay? And these are driver critical reasons. As we gave yesterday, that 87% of all the critical reasons listed in these crashes are driver related. And the 4 that they use for critical are decision, they call it. And it's driving too fast for conditions, tailgating, misjudging the speed of others. Recognition is the distracted, inattentive, failed to observe the situation adequately. We talk all the time about situational awareness. That is a critical reason when they investigate these accidents. Performance. It goes in the performance category for critical reason is if you're fatigued, if you panicked, overcompensated, right? Exercise poor directional control. And then the non-performance is really physical impairment, like just a heart attack, just something that you just can't control. So it's not really considered in your control, the performance part of it. But these are the 4, and then we're going to break them down into some numbers for tomorrow and the rest of the week. But just to kind of show you, where does most of these critical or these accidents fall under? What is some of the, is it decision? Is it recognition? What are the most common reasons listed as in these fatal accidents? And how many trucks are involved in that critical reason as well? And again, we are doing, the fleet out there are doing a great job. The streaks are at, again, 2 days on a inattentiveness, I'd say, because driver didn't set the parking brake, right? But the DOT reportable accidents are at 134. That's preventable. And then the get out and look is approaching the 20-day mark. So getting real close to that 1 month. 1 month's great. If you string a bunch of 1 months together, you've had a pretty good year in backing accidents. But at the same time, the goal has to be 0. And it can be done by just getting out and looking. And so the drivers are doing that. Listen to records. So there's always you always want to have a goal to reach. The 68 days is attainable and about 25% of the way there right now. So again, let's get out and look. Drivers out there, get out and look. Take that time. I know it's raining. Get out and look, right? Rain is, believe it or not a reason not to do it, but more of a reason to do it. Because again, if it's raining heavy, you can't see everything that as good from sitting from inside that cab. So put on some gear and get out and look. The weather's coming. All right. Hey, we got some videos there, producer. Watch what happens there. Just a horrible decision. Double yellow line. That's a median, believe it or not. Even though it's not a big bump, concrete barrier, they put them yellow lines there. That is no passing, and then finishes the pass in a left turn lane. So you can see right up here, the double yellow lines creates what a lot of areas would have a big concrete barrier there or curb, and then completes the pass in a left turn lane by the big rig. Man, just such a dangerous move.
Yeah, and these are the videos here. We look at these videos, and I'm going to say that I think most of you will say as well, that's no chance this is a JB Hunt driver. And if it were a JB Hunt driver, you know what? We need to get that information over to JB Hunt. No matter what, we see this trailer, we need to get that number over to JB Hunt because it's probably an independent contractor running on one of their power only moves pulling that thing. JB Hunt recognized many times as a very safe company. What we want to do, Drive Safe Dave and Buckle Up Bob, is share this information with the companies like that because we want them to share the same information. We want to make sure that the folks on the road, we talk about image, okay? We talk about fixing the image of trucking. This is exactly what we're speaking of.
It was an independent contractor pulling the JB Hunt trailer, and if I'm not mistaken, that trailer number was 91888.
Oh, I like that, man.
There you go.
9-1. How did you remember that? Did you write it down or did you just remember that?
No, when it happened, I tried to call in to the company